Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens affect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Good evening. Welcome to Mean Street News. I am Katie. Thanks for returning if you've been here before. If not, welcome. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you guys all had fun trick-or-treating or receiving trick-or-treaters at your door and looking at all their costumes. My kids had a blast. Sorry it took a little bit longer tonight. I went to go download these videos off my iCloud, and for some reason, iCloud just hates me today, so I had to upload them all to YouTube, and that just takes forever because it's a process, but whatever. Tonight, we're going to be jumping around a little bit, so I have a video for you in the beginning here of our candidate for president, President Trump, talking about weaving, because some people think it's a squirrel moment, but I always get back to my point, and tonight, we are going to do some weaving. We're going to first weave and talk about Jennifer Battistelli and something that I realized that I want to share with you, the public. Tomorrow evening at 9, a little bit earlier, 9 o'clock, I'll have my husband here to help me, but 9 o'clock, I'll be coming live, and I will be discussing with all of you the state, well, it's not state, but the special prosecutor's filings. There's really some interesting information, and I want to, before I get to my weaving video, I want to share with you, the public, I made a because there's been so much paperwork, following this, and it's really hard to follow the Tomlinson timeline. So I made a binder for the Tomlinson, it says J.D. Tomlinson investigation, and it has all of my notes. It has all of my, all the evidence that I've gone through. And I actually scanned that into my computer this afternoon. And what I'll be doing for you, the public, is I will be going over my findings tomorrow, but I'll be providing you with all of my notes and info and all that. Because I know some people like to say I'm just handed paperwork, and I read what people give me, which I find kind of offensive. Like, for one, I find it funny because I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Secondly, though, I just find it a little offensive, like, because you don't think I do my own work. I will say this investigation has been 100% me. It's my investigation. I have spent hours, countless nights, days on the beach, reading documents, and it's paying off, because this is, like I said in the beginning, connects to a bigger story outside of our county, and that is where I get to today. We will be weaving. We will start with Battistelli. Then we will go to our Commissioner David Moore. I'm going to get back to the radios on Saturday. I'm going to finalize my investigation there, which is going to be great. We're going to get to the second part of, after they rescinded the contract. But before we do that, I want to Dave Moore has been doing a show for his candidacy on WOBL. I'm going to post the link in the description here if you guys want to go see it for yourself. But he has been just talking about county issues, and really just wanted the public to get to know who he is a little more. And what he said today kind of struck me, and I really want you guys to hear it before the election. But I will be talking about that, the radios on which is the J.D. Tomlinson investigation on, I'm going to mumble here, on Saturday. I'm forgetting the date. And then we're going to weave on into HB6. Now, for as big of a scandal HB6 was, which is the first energy scandal, you guys all might have heard of it. They did a couple things on the news, but no one really knows. They've heard of it, and I mean, no one that's not a political junkie like myself, and in my echo chamber with all my other political junkies, I have read all the transcripts between how the court case, and I've looked at thousands of papers of evidence because, well, we're going to be talking about this more in depth, but today we're going to touch, just kind of dip our toes and touch on that for a second. HB6, the state of Ohio took bribes in. State of Ohio elected officials took bribes in order to get some legislation passed, but you're going to find out more about that later. So I'm going to weave into my Trump video because I just appreciate it, because people are like, oh, you're like a squirrel, you're rambling. And I really appreciate it because I'm not rambling. If I get back to the topic that I was first discussing, it's not rambling. It's now, and I'm going to do this. It's the way he says this too. It's the way of the weave. So tonight we're going to be weaving. We're going to start Battistelli, we're going to go to Moore, and then we're going to go to HB6. And we're going to, at the end of the show, tie it all in and see why all this kind of ties in. Tomorrow, though, I'll even tie in the HB6 more. But I'm going to get to the weave real quick because it's fun. And you guys like my Halloween decoration too? Just actually see these. I go all out. I'm a little nuts, but I got to cover my big head with my light or you guys will get blinded. Let's go. Way of the weave. I'm going to mute myself real quick.
Charged customers for payments to other organizations involved in the federal racket
profession.
Yeah.
I call it, I do a thing called the weave. Yeah. And there are those that are fair that say, this guy is so genius. And then others would say, oh, he rambled. I don't ramble. If I start a story, what you do is you weave things and you do it. You have to have certain things. You need an extraordinary memory because you have to come back to where you started.
Yes.
A weave is only good if you come back.
They don't give you credit for that.
Yeah, it's true.
You could go all the way over here and then get back.
I can go so far here or there. And I can come back to exactly where I started. Now, someday when you don't come back to where you started,
you're Biden.
Then you say, no, but the weave is the way. When you're telling like a story, I was telling a story at a rally the other day in front of thousands of people, and I started off, and then
you were weaving
something in the story. I actually mentioned Air Force One. It was Air Force One was there, so I mentioned Air Force One, and then I said how I got $1.6 billion off the price of Air Force One. So, but then you have to come back to the story. Where was Air Force One taking you? So anyway, I do a weave. I call it the weave. And some people think it's so genius, but the bad people, what they say is, he was rambling. Yeah. It's not a ramble. There's no rambling. This is
a weave.
This is a weave. I call it the weave. Good name. I'm not sure. That's another name. We had fake news. We came up with lots of names. Yeah. But the weave is, I think we should make the weave a part of that stable.
Yeah, you really weaved right answering my question twice.
That's brilliant. So I don't even want to know the answer anymore.
I lost interest.
We'll weave back. Yeah. Let's weave back to his question. Okay.
I like that. Let's weave back to his question. So let's weave into Jennifer Battistelli. So last night I'm going over I'm putting my binder together and I'm, editing my timeline and doing all of that. And I realized something in the States. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Share whole screen. Okay. We're going to pull this up here so I can show you. Okay, so this is what I noticed when I was going through the sheriff's filings, okay? This is Jennifer Battistelli's phone, right? The phone that she says that in one statement, she says that the sheriff's office copied her phone. In another statement, she says that the FBI did. So I don't know which one did. Now, if you guys remember, and I'm sorry if you're just joining me, Jennifer Battistelli is the woman that accused the prosecutor of abusing her, and she is the lead witness on the charges against the prosecutor and his deputy chief of staff, James Burge. Just real quick, they charged him with bribery, intimidation, and witness tampering with evidence. I think the other one was, pretty sure. She's their lead witness. Now, this lead witness was, there's text message exchange between Robert Van Zandt, the lead detective, or investigator, sorry, not detective, because now he's a captain, Captain Van Zandt, and this witness. that says like, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. There's some kind of sexual thing going on there. In January, what I find interesting is he said to her, if you could help us out, pretty much. Like, if you help, you work with me. This guy threw you out in front of the paper and defamed your name. Aren't you ready to get back at him? Help me. So later down the road, what does she do? Just that. Okay. So in this text message exchange, this is from July, and I just pulled up another one here. This one's from August. Okay. So this is months apart. Now notice when these screen shots, there is this big black, this is what I want to show you, this big black circle thing right here, right? And with a little dot. And as I'm looking at this last night, I'm like, why is that? I have an iPhone user. If you're not, okay, you don't have that normally. You don't have a big black dot right there with a recording thing. So it hits me that she was screen recording this in real time off some app. Now this is July. This is August. The charges are filed in August, okay? But why in July would Jennifer be screen recording these messages? And I'll tell you why I realize this. And that's just not just them, taking a screen grab of this, because when you give your phone to a detective, okay? Say, copy my phone, the text messages are on there, okay? They go and copy your phone. It's going to show up like September. The text messages are going to show September, date this, because it's the past, right? And she says when she went in July 27th, they copied her phone. Well, this is from July 21st, right? So if they were to do that, the iPhone would show July 21st, I believe it's 31st, sorry. July 31st, this date and the time that these messages were put on. And I have to go down here for a second. I want to show you. Okay. See, it says August 1st, Thursday, right? But then you'll go all the way down. I'm on the wrong ones. I might be on the wrong ones. Yeah, let me see if I can find it here a bit quicker. Ooh, wrong one. Right, here we go. Sorry. Thursday. Okay, look. It says Thursday, 5:48, and it has that black thing. So I'm like, wait a second. Is she screen recording these messages? And then why would you be messaging your boyfriend, your whatever he is, she at this time, why would you be messaging him with a screen recorder thing, right? Like, it just doesn't really make sense to me. And it hits me. This chick has been working with them this whole time against him. Now I said entrapment, that's not the right word. They were baiting him. They're goading him. She was using them the whole time. And when she was saying, hey, I'm going to help you, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and lying and everything like that, the whole time, she's just looking to get back at him. She's looking for revenge, and she's working with the authorities. And then I'm like, she's working with the FBI, she saw the state auditor, the sheriff. And then it got to me, and I'm like, FBI, the sheriff, why would they do that? What's the connection here? And ding, ding, ding. My first map, it hits me. For one, she wants revenge, okay? Plain and simple. She wants some kind of revenge because he slept around on her, broke her heart, all of this. I mean, she's the high drama. Reading these text messages is like, holy shit, you know what I mean? This is the drama of it. Now I want to show you this. This is my first, and I call it the murder map. If you want to see I'm some crazy lady because I have a murder map, some of my followers said, hey, that's a murder map. And I'm like, what the hell is a murder map? So when I think murder map, I think Clue, right? Clue, murder map. A couple people approached me and said, the Michelle Hung fake profile saying that you have a murder map. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not that person. This is my Rico map, okay? Well, down here, and I've never shown you guys this. I haven't added it to it yet because you guys weren't ready for me to blow up your brains. This is Tony George. Well, who is Tony George? And that gets me, I'm going to rearrange the order here. That gets me the HB6. Tony George worked with the First Energy executives for HB6, the First Energy scandal, where $1 billion was given and $60 million was paid to certain parties. But there was also consultants and stuff that worked there. And Tony George was a part of that. And how was he? And I'm going to give you a real quick clip on how he was a part of that, and then why it matters with the Jennifer Battistelli thing here in the investigation and everything. Give me 2 seconds.
Charged customers for payments to other organizations involved in the federal racketeering case against Householder and Borges. Those payments went to outside firms associated with and owned by Cleveland, Ohio business owner Tony George and the former chair of the Public Utility Commission of Ohio, Sam Randazzo. In a statement of facts filed by prosecutors in the case, First Energy admitted that it secretly paid more than $22 million to consulting firms owned by Randazzo. That was between 2010 and early 2019. Text messages show that First Energy executives wanted Randazzo to become the chairman of PUCO, and he did, making him the top regulator of First Energy and other utility companies. Randazzo resigned in 2020 after the FBI raided his home and First Energy admitted paying him a secret $4.3 million payment that influenced his official actions as chairman. Those actions were influenced into giving First Energy.
So, Tony George was a part of this scheme with HB6 and money funneling to get legislation done. Now, why does that matter in Lorain County? On a micro level, what this is my belief, this is my theory, my working theory. On a micro level, what Tony George did in Cleveland, he started to do in Lorain County back in a few years ago, we'll say, because I'm not sure if it's 2020 or if it's 2022, because that's when he started giving money to people, and I'm going to show you that tomorrow. And then it got me to the radio contract, and that's because that's what the big fight was back then in the commissioner's office, and when he got involved was the radio contract. So I'm like, and as you can tell, and this is like, now I'm going to hook Jennifer, I'm weaving a story. Do you remember when I showed you this, that the sheriff and Commissioner Hung were working together, and the sheriff was doing an investigation on behalf of Commissioner Hung to go after her Republican counterparts for the rescission of this $7.7 million radio contract that there's bribery and extortion going on there with CCI. My belief, but the evidence shows, it's a theory, that Dana Gollner, this ex-cop from Cleveland, who retired because he shot an unarmed person, he approached Alan Close of CCI and said, give me 10%, people have to get paid. And then when that didn't work, he said, well, then just increase the contract amount, which Michelle did in the span of, 12 months after this conversation, because many hands need to be paid. Well, Michelle Hung, and this is my weaving, Michelle Hung had her boyfriend had a tape, okay? And it was brought up during this investigation. And it was brought up during this investigation that Hung advised that she had informed Tomlinson, which is the prosecutor, and Jennifer Battistelli's prosecutor's girlfriend, that on 2 occasions, that she had informed Tomlinson on 2 occasions about the alleged videos for help. Hung advised that she was afraid Tomlinson, Tom Williams, and he had information about the incident, which doesn't matter. That's just something she put in there. Hung advised that Tomlinson asked if his mother was a willing participant in the incident. Hung admits to knowing the blackmail video against the prosecutor, and I believe she was using this as leverage. Well, when that leverage didn't work, they then started to use other means, it's my belief, and I think some of those means were Jennifer, and Jennifer was upset at the prosecutor for, her termination. She was upset at the prosecutor for his infidelity all around there. She just had, complaints, and she was really upset that she got fired, and, then her name was dragged in the newspaper and all of that. And I found it really interesting that Van Zant, who's the lead investigator, and there's another connection, in Jennifer's case, is the lead investigator into the radios, right? And Commissioner Hung claims, and that Van Zandt even says in this, even if this allegation is true, that, she had her boyfriend had a sex tape of the prosecutor's mother, and they wanted the prosecutor to do something about this rescission of the contract. They wanted him to sign a special prosecutor, which he wouldn't do. But even if it's true, it's not a crime. Most Commissioner Moore is insinuating that due to an alleged sexual relationship, the county prosecutor is compromised and or being blackmailed to not perform his duties. Well, I think that's what he was saying. Even though the prosecutor didn't follow through with that blackmail, I believe then they were looking to get more dirt on him, and he had a scorn lover. And she then starts recording, right, and sending these recordings to the news, because she can say it wasn't her and it was the FBI and the sheriff's office. But as even as corrupt as I think the sheriff's office is, I don't think they're going to take evidence in a case they're trying to build against the prosecutor and release it to the press. I think that was Jennifer. They came from Jennifer's phone. They were little snippets. Even in one of the snippets, she cut off, and I'm not going to show it because it's just gross, but she cut off the video part where she was lunging at him. And like I said in the last episode, this Jennifer chick had some rage issues, but the inappropriate relationship with Van Zandt had a grind against the prosecutor because of his relationship with this girl that he liked, and Jennifer. And the Van Zandt had an issue with the new commissioners because of this rescission of this contract. And the sheriff's office really cared about this contract because they were going to get $3 million in grant money. And it wasn't going to be like earmarked for radios or anything. He was going to get $3 million in his budget. I think that is a huge factor in this. So, I'm trying to find that other one. Hung and them are working together. They needed new blackmail. They get a hold of Jennifer. Jennifer's phone. I'm going to share my screen again. Hold on. No, I'm going to share here. So I believe the radios are a microcosm of HB6, and I think I think Tony George came into Lorain County and has been in Lorain County, but I think he came to Lorain County and started helping these people try to get this contract push. And for some reason, I do not have evidence of this, and be very clear so I don't get sued or something. I don't have evidence of this, but I'm really, really almost positive that he has some connection here with CCI and I just think that because of his connections with Cleveland, so she's recording this. So she's actively going against JD as their relationship progresses. And it is really weird. And I would really like to know about that little dot. So then I'm gonna get back to the FBI. Why is the FBI getting involved in the I don't want to even say radio, but it's not a radio investigation. It's an investigation into elected officials. Why are they getting into the sheriff's investigation against the prosecutor? Why are they getting into the investigation about, the sheriffs and the radios, thinking that there's like some corrupt business going on in the commissioner's office? Why are they doing that? And who is leading the way here? And then I thought about Tony. I'm making Tony just got in trouble. Right? He just got in trouble with the feds for everything that went on in Cleveland. Is he trying to manipulate them to investigate elected officials out here that are innocent to get some time off of what he's Is it that serious though, Katie? What is this HB6? Well, I have another video for you. So let's go to add this to the stage. I'm going to remove it real quick, because last time I did this, I didn't share my audio and it messed up. Okay, so share audio, entire screen, share audio. All right, House Bill 6, let's go.
They will discuss if makers are expected to meet privately tomorrow, where they will discuss if there's a consensus to remove Larry Householder as Speaker.
This is the latest development in the biggest corruption scandal in Ohio politics. Tonight, Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haverly shares what he's uncovered.
These nuclear power plants are operating thanks to a bill that provided a $1 billion bailout to the energy company that runs them. But the FBI says the bill was bought and paid for through a $60 million bribery scheme that lined the pockets of lobbyists and Ohio's most powerful lawmaker.
Speaker Householder, what do you have to say to Ohio?
Not at this time.
Ohio House Speaker Larry Householder and 4 others have been charged with racketeering, accused by the feds of funneling millions from the energy company now. This 82-page will use of other lawmakers and ensure that House Bill 6 passed.
Do you have any response to the charges today?
Lobbyists knew House after his arrest last week, but in secret FBI recordings, Clark is quoted as saying that Generation Now is the Speaker's C4 that Householder created himself. Clark is later recorded saying that we call Company A the bank.
Hold on. When I went on the live, it wasn't showing up. Give me 5 seconds. I want to make sure this is playing. Is this to background? Oh, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, give me 5 seconds. I'm losing internet anyways. Give me 5 seconds, you guys. I want to make sure this is working, and this is making me mad. Of course, it doesn't want to show me. All right, there we go. Not showing me. All right, let's do this. All right, share screen. I'm sorry, you guys. Share screen. We're going to replay that, and I'm going to fix it in my audio. I was like, is this messing up? Okay, let's do this.
These nuclear power plants are still operating thanks to a bill that provided a $1 billion bailout to the energy company that runs them. But the FBI says the bill was bought and paid for through a $60 million bribery scheme that lined the pockets of lobbyists and Ohio's most powerful lawmaker.
Speaker, how do you have to say to Ohio?
Not at this time.
Ohio House Speaker Larry Householder and 4 others have been charged with racketeering, accused by the feds of funneling millions from the energy company into a 501c4 dark money group called Generation Now. This 82-page criminal complaint alleges the $60 million in payments were akin to bags of cash, money that not only was used to help secure Householder as House Speaker, but was allegedly used to finance the campaigns of other lawmakers and ensure that House Bill 6 passed.
Do you have any response to the charges today?
Lobbyist Neil Clark declined to answer 10 Investigate's questions as he left the federal courthouse after his arrest last week. But in secret FBI recordings, Clark is quoted as saying that Generation Now is the Speaker's C4 that Householder created himself. Clark is later recorded saying that we call Company A the bank because they can fund these things for 20 years if they want to. They've got too much money, too much power. Though not named in court records, Company A refers to First Energy and its affiliates, including First Energy Solutions, which operates the nuclear plants and is now called Energy Harbor. During an investor call on Friday, First Energy CEO Chuck Jones tried to distance himself and the parent company from the scandal.
I believe that First Energy acted properly in this matter, and we intend to cooperate fully with the investigation.
Jones says First Energy split with First Energy Solutions in late 2016 and that the two operate separately. But he did acknowledge that $15 million of that $60 million referenced by the feds came from his company in support of House Bill 6. And he appeared to grow frustrated when investors continued to ask questions.
Were you aware of the investigation prior to the FBI's announcement and press conference this week, or was that the first time that you became aware of the investigation?
I'm not going to comment on that one. You know, it'd be really nice. We got about 15 minutes left. If we could actually talk about the great quarter that we had at some point here.
The criminal complaint details payment after payment to Generation Now and other pass-through groups beginning in March of 2017 and continuing through March of this year.
Make no mistake, these allegations are bribery, pure and simple. This was a quid pro quo. This was pay to play.
10 Investigates also found money from the energy company wasn't just pouring into Generation Now. Records show contributions from First Energy Solutions, its political action committee, and its employees also flowed into householders' campaign account after House Bill 6 became law. We also found a $13,000 donation from Matt Borges, the former state GOP party chairman, and one of the men prosecutors say was involved in the scheme.
Anything to say at all?
No, I don't have any comment.
Borges' alleged role in the scandal, the feds say, involved giving a man a $15,000 bribe for intelligence on the failed ballot referendum aimed at overturning House Bill 6. That man went to the FBI and alleges Borges threatened to blow up his house if he spoke of their conversation.
What we need to do in the legislature is start taking the steps to repair that violation of trust.
Lawmakers have introduced a bill to repeal House Bill 6 and are considering replacing Householder. Shane Wilkins was one of two sponsors of the original bill. The feds say Householder handpicked lawmakers to sponsor House Bill 6. Representative Wilkin, in a statement on Friday, said he was disappointed and angry at Householder, calling on him to resign, but over the phone told me he still supports the language and purpose of HB 6.
Now, what got happening behind the scenes that I didn't know and no one I know knew any of that was going on, if it in fact is true, it's a shame that the bill's getting tainted by it.
There's this unlimited supply of money for these political players to use, and all they have to do is get this bill through. A really sort of shocking level of corruption and bribery that is pretty unique.
Ian Vanderwalker is with the Brennan Center for Justice, a nonpartisan law and policy institute that studied dark money and its influence in politics. He says in this case, using multiple pass-throughs beyond Generation Now is a tactic used to cover the money trail.
These networks can get very complicated, but ultimately the goal is always just to hide where the money is coming from.
And that should probably keep people up at night.
That's right. Yes. It's we think that the elected officials work for us, and if we don't like what they're doing, we can vote them out. But this kind of secrecy means that it can be very hard to know what they're doing.
That was Chief Investigative Reporter Bennett Haberly reporting. Now, a bill was introduced today in Ohio State House that calls for transparency among dark money groups. Again, House Republican lawmakers are set to meet privately tomorrow to talk about the potential for removing Householder. An attorney for the speaker told us today he could not comment. AEP chairman, they put out a statement distancing that company from the investigation surrounding House Bill 6. It reads in part, I want to be clear that as the investigation of the activities surrounding House Bill 6 continues, none of the alleged wrongful conduct in the criminal complaint involves AEP or its subsidiaries. We engaged and participated in the legislative process surrounding HB 6 legally and ethically. And that's from Nicholas Akins, chair of AEP. 10 Investigates, though, found tax records that show Empowering Ohio's Economy, a nonprofit that was solely funded by AEP, did contribute $150,000 to Generation Now in 2017 and 2018. That's the dark money group the FBI says was set up by Householder and others. Stay tuned.
So we're coming to the finish line where
whatever you do, go out and vote. That's what he's going to finish with. So that's HB 6. Now, what happened? That video is from 4 years ago. Larry Householder was de-seated. He was no longer the Speaker of the House, and he went to prison. So he went to prison. Now, why I bring this up is the radio issue, the 911. And I'm done calling it radio because it wasn't about the radios. We don't really care about the radios. I cared about the broadband infrastructure and the money that was going to go to a pay to play. That's what I believe it was. I believe it was a pay to play scheme. I believe, the cities would be getting their radios and stuff, but people also were getting paid from it. And I'm not the only one that believes that. And that gets me to, it's not letting me do this. Stop screen. That gets me to Commissioner Moore, then this WOBL. Well, before I get there, forget I said that. That gets me to this Jennifer Battistelli thing. Commissioner Michelle Hung is tied to Tony George. She's tied to Tony George because she has told multiple people that you had an affair with Tony George when she was way younger, decades ago. But my thing is, with the extortion and the bribery and the schemes that have been played these last few years, and Tony George's, money that's been given to people in the county. I think that that definitely has something to do with here. And I wouldn't doubt Jennifer was a pawn in that game. And I wouldn't doubt that maybe the Georges also work with the sheriffs, Captain Van Zandt. I mean, the shady shit they do is insane. Now, Captain Van Zandt, I believe everybody should be upset with because I have been approached by others. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to say where because they've been asked to remain anonymous. But Jennifer is not the first woman that he did this with. Now, he should have recused himself from the beginning of this case, from the beginning of this investigation, because of his personal relationship with Jennifer Battistelli. Him and Jennifer have known each other since elementary. Not only that is the text messages that he sent her, the sexualization, the sex in them. And I know people are like, oh, who cares? Da, da, da. You should care. She's the lead witness on his investigation against the sitting prosecutor of the county. That is corrupt. That is corrupt as you get it. Now, bring in the FBI. This whole time, I'm like, why is the FBI involved? Well, Mr. George is in some trouble with the FBI. So did he, and this is my theory, did he go and say to the FBI, like, hey, there's corruption over here in Lorain County regarding this contract, and the corruption's in the commissioner's office, so we need to investigate these two commissioners and this rescission of this contract that I believe he has some connection to somehow, and use the FBI to weaponize and for political weaponization, to politicize and weaponize the FBI against elected officials. And I believe they do. They did. There's no way that this investigation should have ever been opened. Who the hell is the sheriff to tell two elected officials that we elected that they know what's best? It went through not only the commissioner's office, but Snodgrass. The buck stopped at Snodgrass. Why aren't they investigating Craig Snodgrass, who's the county auditor? I mean, yeah, the commissioners approved the payment, but he has to actually provide the payment. He has to, and he could have stopped it. He stopped the payment for a purchase of a smaller item that he questioned over the summer. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want you to focus on that, but he knows it. A $5,000 payment he stopped. Why wouldn't he stop a $50,000 payment if he believed it was under some corrupt circumstances? We're going to get that into more tomorrow. But do you see what I'm getting here? It's a microcosm of HB6. And Tony George is the HB6. He was the in-between guy between Mike Dowling and Chuck Jones of First Energy and the political players that were extorting money from First Energy. Sounds familiar, just like the radios. And that gets me to Dave today. And I want to give him a little shout. If you guys don't know Dave Moore, I'm going to do a little bit of intro for him right here. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to do this real quick and wrap this up because I don't want to go too late tonight. I want to stick at an hour and be done. Tomorrow, however, it's probably going to be 2 because we're going to be going through the filings for Jennifer Battistelli. I'm going to go to my RICO map, aka murder map. You're not going to stop me from saying that. Freedom of speech. It's not a murder map unless it's making like a hit list and saying I'm not killing. Like, give some intention. And, yeah. Be a hater. So, let's go here. Which one is this?
This is Dave Morty, Lorain County Commissioner, trying to talk about government without scaring you. get into a sugar. It kind of sounds like government and your taxes. So well, a little bit. This is my last episode, my last talk of who I am and what's going on in the county, and as you can tell, this podcast or live on WOBL. The guys here at WOBL fun, getting to be able to talk for an hour without too much interruptions. Sometimes I brought in some guests and we had some good back and forth. I think there's been an awareness of the county commissioner's office. I believe a lot.
That's Dave Moore. He is your county commissioner. And what is the county commissioner? And I will be honest, I did not know what a county commissioner was up until beginning of 2023. Had no idea. The county commissioner is the budget authority of the county. All your department's budgets go through the county auditor. The county commissioners, and they are the final approval of those budgets. They're the budgetary authority. So they're the money guys. You got to go to them to ask to get money for your budget and then explain, and they say yay, nay, and approve it. So that is who Dave is. Well, he gets into the radio contract, and he did a great summary today, and it might take me 2 clicks to get it because I couldn't, like I said, upload this. So let me share this. He does a great explanation on the radios, and I want you to hear it.
Where are you getting your news?
Nope, that's not the one. I didn't have time tonight to label these, like trick-or-treating and everything. Come on. So it's either this one or the next one. Oh, come on.
Elected officials tell us how to spend taxpayer money. These are the people that we're trying to grab your taxpayer money and misappropriate for their personal gain in each and every community, which is never. But it is our responsibility as commissioner to build the infrastructure, make that decision. The beauty is there's so many opportunities, so many grants available. Nobody can wait. So like those on dirt.
I just want you to hear that part, but then we're going to play this one. We're going to go back to that. Don't worry. Because you can see what is it. I want to go into what his opponent said. That was this one. That's the elected officials. That's 428. Hold on, I'll get this. 428. It's this one. I'm crossing my fingers.
Too much interruption. Sometimes I brought in some guests and we had some, and you the commissioner's office. I believe a lot of people to this day, they don't even know what a county commissioner does. And until it affects their backyard, that's when they get involved. There was so much propaganda and misinformation and lies that were spread after we exposed the corrupt contract for a radio system. I tell everybody, when the Democrats can't legislate, they litigate. And so it was an all-out attack, but by fighting and standing up to bullies, we saved you, the taxpayer, $22 million and a system that wasn't going to work, and it wasn't going to be accepted because it was a private industry that was coming in, not a Ohio, which, nobody knew this, but the federal government now is saying that in order to, with the new system is coming out next June, only government agencies like PSAPs, like your 911 centers, will be able to have this new system where they're going to know if you make a 911 call, they're going to know where you're at. Right now, they generally, when you use your cell phone, know what area you're in. If you're in a building, they're going to know what you're in. And 8 buildings that doesn't have the appropriate technology in order for our first responders to get in there. Well, we saved $8 million on that overpriced buying radios that were overpriced. That's a given. That's known. You won't hear about it because it embarrasses those that were pushing it. It does. It does embarrass them a lot. Anyway, but what was important was that we created a system, an infrastructure that it doesn't matter what radio you buy. And that's what we did. So it's called interoperability. If you received any literature, campaign propaganda from my opponent, he doesn't any radio, Kenwood, Johnson, Harris, Motorola, they're all going to work. We did, which nobody was talking about, and nobody still does want to talk about, is that we're getting 100% coverage. Okay, 99.99%, that's what they say, but it's 100%, folks. And so we also identified the 78 buildings that needed certain equipment in there so that if there is an issue, our first responders would be protected. And they'd be able to communicate. So all this anger that was going on about that was nothing more about power and money. Your money. So now, for the last 2 years, we fought. Look in each and every community, which has never been done. I don't want to tell any community what radio to buy, but it is our responsibility as commissioner in making opportunities, so many grants available. So we spent MPHS radio, like all your districts.
Exactly. So he's talking about the radio issue, and he, out of anybody, has been attacked. Hold on, I'm losing my Wi-Fi. Give me for a second. Come on. I can see it says up in the corner. Get rid of this. Come back, Wi-Fi. There we go. Come back. Come on. There we go. We're back. All right. Sorry. I hate when it does that. But what he's saying is, Dave has been attacked by everybody about that for over 2 years. I mean, basically saying what he doesn't support safety forces, he doesn't do this, doesn't do that. And I feel like he's finally getting to the point where that story's deaded. And they can complain about the radios all they want. The radios now, they can communicate now. Marks isn't even up and running yet. So and like you said, it's not about radios, it's about the infrastructure. And it's also about, the process. The process of that contract was completely rigged. It was completely inappropriate. The relationship that Michelle Hung and Harry had, it was completely inappropriate, the bribery schemes. But this is what I believe, and I'm going to prove my point tomorrow, that, that Tony George came into this county, started spending some money because he had some trouble over in Cuyahoga, right? And Tony George tried to play politics here and get this contract through. And when, Jeff Riddell won his race, it messed up with their plans. I think it was a pay-to-play scheme. I believe, and this is my theory, I have not proven it yet, but we'll go through that tomorrow. But, Dave really got beat up over this, but he stuck it through, and I'll give him that. He's not a normal politician, and I think that's why I like him. And I want to be very clear to some of my listeners. I do not work for any candidate. I am my own person. But when I saw what was going on here and how I felt that, groups and organizations were being inappropriately used, and I want to go back to that story because I believe I have the letter here. Hold on. No. Anyways, I wrote a letter when I was the Ohio IR that organization was being used. Lorain County Young Republicans were being used inappropriately by Michelle to lobby on her behalf at the commissioner's office. You already saw, videos, and before, if you've been here before, you've heard me talking about this for hours, going over the sheriff's investigation. Now you have the prosecutor being investigated by the sheriff too, because he would not assign a special prosecutor to investigate Dave Moore. And this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Why I bring up Dave is Dave was brought up, and Jen, this is my weaving. Remember Trump weaving? Dave was brought up in the Jennifer Battistelli investigation. And when she brought up Dave's name in these transcriptions, you can just tell that they were trying to tie Dave and JD together. Now, even though Commissioner Moore has been very clear that he, doesn't want to say who he supports, but he gets along with the prosecutor's office. They have just like a professional relationship with anybody. But these people thought it was more than that. And I believe, it's my belief, because it's really weird to me the FBI even got involved out here, unless it was to investigate my investigation on the actual corruption that took place in the players there. I believe, because it just doesn't, nothing else makes sense, that Tony George is in this somehow because he's in trouble in regards to what happened with the HB6, that he was like, hey, I know this corruption that's going on. And then he manipulated those mother truckers into, he led the way. And I think he advised them along the way too. And the last thing that I want is Tony George involved in our politics out here. And honestly, if I were him, I would just stick to the restauranting business, especially after what happened with HB6. We're going to get more in HB6. We're going to get more into Jennifer Battistelli tomorrow, and I'm going to show you even more how my conspiracy is. But I believe Jennifer kind of conspired, which is a crime, by the way. Conspiracy is a crime. It's not just a political fucking term to hurt the other person. Oh, sorry, I slipped. I hate when people call me conspiracy theorist. I'm like, that's a crime. Like, you can conspire with people. That's like a real thing. Just to disenfranchise what I'm saying. That's all good and all, but that was a term also made up to do exactly what you're doing right now, which is dumb. But she is a player here. She conspired with the sheriff's office and with I believe other players here, including the fire, because they were about the radio contracts too. She conspired to go again. She herself was scorned, because JD didn't stick up for her in the office when she quit. Didn't get up in Longacre's face and be like, you're gonna listen to my girlfriend who thinks she's running this office, and then that happened. All of a sudden, these videos leaked after she got some bad press, and she cares what the press thinks. I mean, don't think this woman doesn't care. She's in these text messages like, they're talking about me, it's so horrible. She's not a victim. She wants you to think she is. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And we're going to also just kind of connect the dots, campaign finance reports, connect the dots with people. We're going to look at my murder map, be a hater. If you don't like the name, I like it. My fans liked it. I got it from my followers. About 4 followers said, that's a murder map. I'm like, oh, I like that. We're going to look at my RICO map. And we're going to look at some testimony from her. It's going to be fun tomorrow evening. Right now, I want to end this episode with a video, another little clip of Dave talking about the news and where do you get your news from. You should be joining Main Street News on our in-depth investigation if you're from Lorain County or even from Ohio, because we're about to get into that after this week. I'm really kind of excited to stop talking about radios, and I'm not done with the radio thing. I'm just done talking about them on here. I'm going to be pushing people and officials to be investigating here in Lorain County. The FBI should be doing their job, and instead of investigating elected officials and people that we voted for and that were doing their jobs, they should be investigating the corrupt sheriff's office and the captain that's trying to sleep with his witnesses, and they should be investigating a corrupt commissioner where her and her boyfriend tried to elicit tried to pass and rigged a contract, $7.7 million contract, to rip off the taxpayers of Lorain County. Now, what are my damages that I want back from Michelle Hung? Well, and I don't think a lot of people know this, the Lorain County citizens in total, and this is not including the $400,000, what is it called when you settle a case? Settlement that we gave Tom Williams because we denied Michelle and Lundy retaliated against him and denied a severance package. We have spent $776,000 on the lawfare from CCI, from the sheriff's department, from Michelle's nonsense. $775,000 of your taxpayer dollars to defend the county, us, the taxpayers, from Michelle Hung, from the sheriff, from the corrupt bullshit. And they've done it. But I don't want Michelle and others to pay that bill back to us, because they knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew from the beginning that what they did was wrong. She knows what she's doing is illegal. What the sheriff's doing is illegal. It's disgusting. And the fact that they work with the media. I mean, the dumpster fire is I call it the Chronicle, the dumpster fire. The dumpster fire no longer is even trying to hide their bias. And that's what Dave talks about here. So I'm at an hour. I told you I'm only going to take a little bit of your time. We're going to watch this real quick together, and then I am out. I will see you guys tomorrow for more. I mean, it is going to be salacious tomorrow. I mean, the shit that I read, this shit, it's like a soap opera. You can't make it up, but the best thing I love about people that bullshit and everything is they tell on themselves, because, my mom always told me growing up, don't lie, because the problem with lying is that you have to keep track of your lies, and those lies just build up, and then you lose track. You forget what you said to who and how you said something to what, and then guess what? You're caught. And that is really how I've treated this investigation. I don't use sources, because people, tell, have you ever played the game telephone? You pick up one, by the end, you're a banana. You know what I mean? That was random, but I don't know why I said that. But we're going to do this. I'm going to add this to the stage. And then after this, I am out, and you guys enjoy your day here. Well, your night. I'm sorry I'm late night tonight. Like I said, trick-or-treating and stuff. And then for some reason, computer hates me. So I'm going to play this, and then I'm out.
His opponent won, which was Matt Lundy. Where are you getting your news? Where? Oh, yeah, I'm getting it on Facebook. Oh, I'm getting it on Instagram. No. Okay? You have to research. And look, we got lives. How do you get research out of Facebook when there's only 144 characters? The problem is Facebook has done a lot of damage to a lot of families, a lot of friends. I've experienced it. Because when it came out in 2006, I got on it, and I use it for comic relief. But so Facebook has caused a lot of issues, and everyone's getting their information from Instagram or whatever they're getting their information from. And the problem is there is no one source that you can really find out the news, the truth. Because really, it's like for example, the Chronicle Telegram. It is so obvious in how biased they are. It's almost like I laugh at it now. I don't take them seriously at all because that's how I did not get endorsed this week. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't get endorsed. I think, Marty, you hope you don't want to get endorsed. And today, not today, but on Wednesday, Demakia got endorsed over Marty Gallagher. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a home run. Why do you say that? Well, the Chronicle Telegram in 2010, they endorsed Tom Williams' opponent. Tom was running for the first time. So the Chronicle endorsed his opponent. Tom Williams won. Tom lost. His opponent won, which was Matt Lundy. In 2020, I ran against Sharon Sweda. She lost. I won. I wasn't endorsed. Jeff Riddell ran against Matt Lundy in 2022, and Lundy got the endorsement, but Jeff won. See a pattern here? In 2016, I was the chairman of the Donald Trump Presidential Committee here in Lorain County. I was the campaign manager. And
He's right about the news. You got to get your news from somewhere else. You cannot follow the dumpster fire. I mean, they just put the narrative out that the Democrats really want them to push, and that's what they do. And I watched it happen in real time. Come on, internet. Why does it hate me so much? There we go. But you guys enjoy your night. Thank you for joining me real quick. I really just wanted to share the Jennifer thing and the Dave thing and the Tony George and how he ties in here. And don't think I forgot about him. I really think that's why the FBI is getting involved. And I think, the FBI needs to do their job and stop letting people use them to play their politics. And they need to actually look into the corruption here in Lorain County. Get out and vote. I know, please go all the way down the ticket from, what did Anthony Hurst is running for a juvenile court as a judge. He's a Republican. And he said from the president to what did he say? From the White House to the courthouse, you need to go all the way down. I liked it. You need to go all the way down the ballot. I mean, our judges are really important. Our county is really important. I believe, and it's my belief, that the county is going to affect you longer down the road. Not on a macro aspect of like the economy, but on you're going to have to go to the courthouse one day in your life, get a speeding ticket, something like that. Throw a fan at your husband's face like Jennifer. You're going to go to the court. You're going to see these judges. You're going to maybe have a property dispute. You might have to go see the commissioners about, what would you see them about? Oh, one of their department heads acts like a jackass. You know what I mean? And they're responsible for that, overseeing these agencies. So you go and want to talk to the commissioner's office. We have home rule. People forget how our government is structured. It goes your cities, right? And then it goes the county. Then it goes your state. And then it goes the federal government. People think it's flipped, like it's the federal government with the state. No. The county controls a lot of things. So they are going to affect you more. And we, including myself, I didn't even know what a commissioner was up until 2 years ago. I think that's the biggest thing is we're waking up, and I think people need to start waking up as well. I forgot to tell you that Sunday's episode will be about Dave Moore. It'll be about other candidates. I have little snippets that we're gonna play. We're gonna just do like a little Mean Street strip, who I like for Lorain County and stuff. And some of those clips, 'cause I really like what Dave has to say. So go over to WOBL on their Facebook. Just type in WOBL. It's the country radio station. And they have Dave's lives there. I'll tag that in the comments here. But you guys enjoy your night and happy Halloween. And whoever joined me late night tonight, I appreciate you all. And thank you. And once again, tomorrow is going to be great because we're going through like the actual text and like I do. And, fucking fallacious. Yeah, this is just crazy. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, and you have a good night. And thanks again for joining me today on Mean Street. Bye. Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting our work and supporting my effort. You can support directly underneath at the Spotify donations, or you can directly give a donation at paypal.me/meanstreetohio. Any donation received will help me continue to provide news to you and everyone else across Ohio and beyond. I love what I do, and I just hope to continue to do it. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining